folks, welcome. Couple months ago I received as a gift an old engine. It comes from a very simple moped. I want to build something very cool. I want to have a motor that I can swap between vehicles. So I want to make myself a bike, a snowmobile, a go-kart, a drift trike and many others. So I will think about it as a Lego component that I can swap between one vehicle and another very easy. So let's see how to convert one of these motor and yeah, let's move on. So this is the engine block, and as all engine blocks for motorbike has only one single point right here, and it was a pivot point between the frame of the bike and the suspension on the back. So I'm building myself instead 4 legs so that I can support the motor also from the bottom and not only from the top. So depending on which project I'm going to make, I have multiple point connection with this stainless steel frame. This frame will not get rusty, but is also a very good idea to protect the welding parts I just made with some protecting paint, so it will not get rusty even if I'm going to use it inside water. So I can mount the frame here, only one screw, the original one, fix it here in the middle and other fix it on the back. I also make sure to cut all legs at the same height, so it's like a small table now. Now I just have to secure a new gear here instead of the wheel. This wheel is very interesting because here on the back side there's also the brake system. As you can see inside this component, a very big brake will become bigger and stop the wheel. So I mark the points and cut away. This is just aluminum, so I can use this electric saw to cut it away, and in only a couple minutes everything came apart. I will save and recycle also the tire, maybe for a future project, but right now let's continue to modify the inner part. This is still aluminum. I want to place it inside my lathe so I can make it nicer and also smooth, so I can also continue the project fixing all the other components. So it's also a very good idea once you are using such a big piece inside such a small lathe to use some oil to protect the lathe itself. So in this case I have this one, which was the sponsor of my Italian video, and I can spray it here, which makes the cut much nicer. Consider that this lathe is very small. I never machined such a huge object, so it doesn't matter if it doesn't come perfect, I just want to have all the parts smooth. So you can see I faced the front part, and now I have to make an adapter with this shape. I designed the part here on the CAD software. I also pre-drilled 9 holes, I think, and I want to machine the parts from this 12mm thick aluminum. I can use the software to control my CNC machine, and the CNC machine will make all its work in maybe 20 minutes. It's the first time I'm going to machine aluminum, so I was pretty scared. I also spray a lot of oil every time the drill bit goes around the aluminum, and it was so satisfying watching aluminum cut for my first time. I was going very slow. Maybe next time I can go faster, but this is the end result. I just pre-drill the holes because I think it's much faster to drill holes with my drill press instead. So this is how it came out. A very simple component. Now maybe you are wondering why I didn't just make holes inside the aluminum from the wheel, and later I will show you and explain you the reason why. I also drill a bigger hole, this time for the same reason. I prefer to do it with my drill press because it's much easier and faster instead of waiting 20 minutes with the CNC machine. I fixed together both parts, the aluminum adapter and also the gear, with a huge bolt so that are secure, centered one on each other, so I can drill all holes also through the gear that is metal. So you can see now that the block has the same shape of the wheel, and this is because I want to also weld the parts together so that the better they fit, the better the weld it will look and hold the parts together. I also put stainless steel bolts that are very long to secure parts together, because aluminum and steel cannot be welded together, so I can use instead all these screws to secure the parts together. And this is how it looks like. Now it's just a matter to weld the aluminum wheel part to the aluminum adapter together, and this is how it looks like. I think it's quite strong. I don't think I can break it. So now it's so satisfying also to see that all holes fixed together perfectly, and this is the result, quite amazing. And now it's just a matter to put again the wheel inside the motor block. The reason why I didn't drill holes all the way through this component is because on the back side it's so irregular and it's quite tricky to place the head of the screws. So everything works great. I love it. Wow, folks, I'm so happy. I mean, this part look amazing. And it's so difficult for me making such a precise parts, but using technology as the CNC machine and also having fun with my very old lathe works great. I'm so happy. Now it's just a matter of testing the power of this motor. I want to make myself a small vehicle, but yeah, let's move on. Let's go in the car and I explain you better what's in my mind. So I want to make myself a small vehicle. I also try to understand the cost of making one by myself. So the stainless steel for the frame, so also the tires, the brake system, the steering wheel and all the other components, it will go over 400 bucks. So it's quite expensive. I want to stay cheaper. I found an old Go-kart here next to my house and I just spent 180 bucks for it. So let's see the condition of this vehicle. So here it is. I never lift up a go-kart, and let me say it's quite heavy. Luckily I'm a very big guy and I can handle it without problems. So here it is. I can watch it now better with strong light here in my shop, and I already noticed that it's in a very bad shape. Has rust everywhere. The worst part are the ball bearings. I will show you later. And you can also understand that the previous owner made a very strange modification here to the frame. It welded a dirt bike frame on it. Has also a water cool system, which I don't really need, and also many other components I can cut away to reduce the weight of it, like this bar and also all the other parts. I don't think I will keep them, like this air filter, and I also will solve the rust problem later. It's not easy, but I have all the products here in my shop. The worst part are also two tires that catch a lot of sun, and you can see that the rubber is all dry. So luckily for me, the other two tires are still in a good condition, so I just have to replace two of them. The worst part I was telling you are the ball bearings. Are so covered of rust I cannot even turn the wheels, even if I put all my force in it. At the beginning I was thinking maybe it was a brake problem, but it's just rust inside the ball bearings. So let me reduce the weight of it, removing all the parts. This is a water cool system, but because I'm using an air cool engine, I don't really need it. This is the air box filter. I also don't need it because I have a smaller one. And now I just also remove the tires so that I can see better the condition of the ball bearings. So remove the tires and you can see that rust went everywhere. So lucky for me, I have some oil, which is still the sponsor of my Italian videos. So I'm sorry if I show you so many things about this oil, but I think they look pretty cool. You can see that oil goes inside by capillarity inside threads of the aluminum and the stainless steel, so it's much easier also to remove the screw. So I repeat all this process also on very rusty bolts, and I think this macro shots looks amazing. You can really see that the oil goes inside, and I just use an Allen key to remove the rust screw from the screw. So I also spray a lot of oil on these components that were stuck due to rust part condition, and this at the beginning I thought was a full part, instead it's just an empty tube, a stainless steel that holds the tires. I can also remove this part this gear system because I want to swap it with the disc brake, because if you think about it, my engine works on the left side, so I just have to replace the parts so that are in the same line. Later I will explain you better. Now I can remove this component, which is the worst part of the go-kart. The ball bearings are quite expensive. I searched for them online, so I want to try to fix it using always this kind of oil. And lucky for me, I managed to make all 3 ball bearings work in perfect condition. The trick here is to use a rubber hammer, and this will help the oil to go inside and also break all the rust parts that are on the bearings inside. So after 5 minutes, all 3 ball bearings works now perfectly, and I'm so happy because each of these ball bearing was very expensive. As I told you, I also swapped the disc brake with the big gear. I don't really think I'm going to use the disc brake because, as you remember, my engine already has a brake system in it. I put also some grease. This is a PTFE grease inside the ball bearings, so rust will not corrode them anymore. Now let's take a stainless steel frame that came from gym equipment, and I can weld it here on the side of the go-kart. I'm so lucky because it has perfect dimension for my engine. This will be the base where I can secure the engine, and I also made sure to paint everything so it will stay protected. Now finally the 4 new legs I weld for my motor come in place. You can see I can secure them here, and notice also that I make 4 slots so that they can move the engine block forward or backwards so they can keep good tension on the chain. I made also a plastic box store for containing all the electric part, and I connect also a big chain that is perfectly in line with the 2 gears. So I'm so happy. We're almost there. So I just can't resist to use this go-kart. Consider this is just a simple prototype. As I was telling you, I just bought this go-kart for taking all the parts. Later I will cut it and make it in another complete different shape. You cannot even call it anymore a go-kart. So this was just a part source so that I can take away the steering parts, the tires and all the other things. So let's move on. I found a very nice parking spot. It is abandoned spot and it's quite big. It's like 1 kilometer long and 400 meters wide.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters. They're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm f***ed off at these f***ing clowns. We're all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants.
Ragazzi, ma ci rendiamo conto dell'accelerazione di questo veicolo o no? È una cosa
Well, I think you can really understand from my voice that I'm so excited about the result. I'm talking about the extreme acceleration I can feel from this motor. And if you think about it, it's just a math reason, because the size of the original tire is almost double of the tire of the go-kart, and also the gear ratio between the gear of the motor and the back gear is also almost the half size. So this means that I don't reach such a high speed, but I have extreme acceleration And this is really cool because I don't like to go fast, but I really love to feel acceleration and drift around, so this works great. But this doesn't mean that in a future project I will also think about changing gear ratio for different projects. So I think I solved my problem about making myself interchangeable engine block so they can move it between different vehicles. So stay tuned for future projects, and if you like this kind of videos, so make sure also to check my first part on my Italian channel where I explain you how to connect and throw away all the parts that aren't really necessary for turning on a motor like this one, so which is the best solution to turn on a motor like this. So